Here's the LGE Carcass1 tool as it sits after July 8th, end of work day. These pieces currently do fit on the assembly and they are full welded. They had to be remade. These custom CNC pieces still don't work. Meticulously tried to figure out their engineering drawings with all the dimensions and special chamfers called out. However, they have the chamfers called out on the wrong side, and the important ones that allow the tool to fully engage the part not called out at all. These pieces, when you full weld them on the inside, they don't physically fit onto the lift assist. The urethane rollers called out as a metric dimension with an oddball setup dimension into the tube. These could have been put in by the machine off an end cap in any position whatsoever. A machine can put any hole in any number. However, they put in an oddball number and then called out to be an even 40mm metric dimension, which really didn't matter. You could order total stock urethane and had them bolt up in a different dimension. All they are is resting on the head deck. This slug, I have no idea why this slug is so large. It made it quite challenging to try and fill the gap because this is so much material to the size of the post that it's bolting to. This piece had to be completely remade because of the M15 call out with the M16 rotate bolt. These straps aren't called out. Are called out on the print. They're not shown in the drawings. Called out on the detail print, but not shown in the pictures. There's also an additional strap here. We're going to have to take care of this weld before we weld on the strap here. Again, this piece, once again, when it came back from our CNC source, this is not angle iron. This is custom machine piece out of billet, which again doesn't quite bolt up to the profile of the casting. Personally, I don't think it's a great idea to bolt up to a casting surface with a highly tolerant piece anyway. What happens when the casting changes a year or two down the road? If you take this piece off the print and try and bolt it up to this piece on the print, you'll find out that there is a 1/4 inch of hard interference, and one of these two pieces are going to have to be remade. All of this is set up to be non-even dimension setup. This is, if I remember correctly, this was 15.672 millimeters, which converts to nothing English. These pieces had to be completely remade because when they came back from machine, they were unusable, and the hole is so close to the end that it blows out through the end, and you have to remake the piece as a weldment and then tap it, which is not called on the print, of course. The metric bolts are of an oddball length to the point where we have to make special spacers to compensate for the bolts not fitting through English tubing. They could have used just an English bolt with English tubing and it would have been just fine. We would have had to make very small custom precision spacers. All these dimensions are nothing equal. The setups of this was called out not from the end of the tube before the end cap was welded on, but was actually from the end cap. Again, nothing even metric or English. Completely oddball dimensions and not able to be spaced out by any amount of setup possible. And even this has to be cut off and remade because the engagement isn't quite right. Even though this is better than what's called out on the print, it still isn't perfect, and we're not writing totally on the cam follower. Other than that, this is where it's at. We're ready to continue on. All the handles are made. All of the latch levers are made. This does work as we believe it is supposed to. You move this out of the way, you flip up the latch lever and move it to the clamp position. Once in the clamp position, it latches, and then this is blocking it from unclamping. These attachment levers for the pointers and everything are going to be set up after the fact because we had no confidence whatsoever that they would have worked had we made them to print. So we made them to print, and we are ready to modify them to the assembly. That's where we're at right now.